Well, Cho Myong-gun says that South Korea should press ahead with the DPRK to implement what has already been agreed at that Panmunjom agreement. And so that is things like seeking a peace treaty that would formally end the war on the Korean Peninsula. Currently, there's still only a truce that has been in place since 1953, and also to put in, tangible signs in the meantime, like de-escalating the demilitarized zone, taking some of that heavy weaponry back. He didn't want to comment on, Cho didn't want to comment on what had happened, regarding the Singapore talks being abandoned. But he said in the meantime, the two Koreas can press on alone. We've also heard just from the Foreign Minister, Kang Kyung-hwa, as well. She's just been on the phone to Mike Pompeo, the U.S. Secretary of State, and she's also saying things are basically still on track. The summit might be off, but the message she's getting is that the U.S. is still very much open to negotiations, to talks. That's something that we heard from President Moon as well this morning, also saying he wanted to press on. This was no time to delay or abandon the crucial task of denuclearization and building peace on the Korean Peninsula. So, a bit of a shock, but still a lot of momentum here.
Just as you mentioned, a lot of momentum there, but given that the DPRK cancelled high-level talks with South Korea last week, how likely is that Seoul will be able to get things going again? What specific measures or topics could the two sides going to talk about?
Well, it's very likely that there will be contact, particularly because of what has just happened with Trump pulling out of that summit. There has been a pattern or a strategy, we can say, with the DPRK in the past, over the past few decades. People are, of course, hoping it would be a little different this time, but that pattern is normally to go through South Korea to get things in motion, then make contact with the United States, then give South Korea the cold shoulder, and if things go wrong with the United States, to make contact again with South Korea. Part of that strategy is doing what they've been doing for the past week, which is also threatening to cancel summits. And it just seems that Donald Trump, perhaps why he caused a big surprise, is he seems to be playing by the DPRK rule book of the past at the moment, which has probably taken everybody on the peninsula as a bit of a shock. But the feeling here is, because this has happened, talks between Pyongyang and Seoul will probably resume within days. And Moon Jae-in himself, during that summit with Donald Trump in Washington, said he expects that talks would resume after the current round of war games, and they wrap up today. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but the expectation is here that certainly by early next week they could start talking about implementing those aspects, at least of the Panmunjom agreement, the agreement between Kim and Moon Jae-in, the president here, and in the meantime try and get those talks with the U.S. going again.